Well, I don't have much space left, so I'm not going to get to finish this. Anyway, this would be number 2 video. Um, okay, the limo I got in, I've just been turned out of jail for living in the forest for a month. I spent there about the fourth time, and last time. Um, okay, I get in almost like a limo, and later the person in the front seat to the right is Robert, who's a federal. I laughed because it was hell, but he was a federal agent that shows up out there and helped me pull the suitcase up and down. He's a marshal, and then he was other law enforcement, but he was legit. And okay, the other one, I don't know who he is. They've got U.S. Marshal on their jackets, okay? Now you got one in the back, I'm in the middle. The one to the right's a black man. And I thought, my God, he was suited. My God, he's the one that was at TAP when I was trying to find a place to live. And believe me, these are not fun. This is hell. It was down by the railroad tracks when it was where Schaefer's Crossing. You get into the mind control murders and connections, and this is not the only one. But Pam Darbury's co-star was Schaefer, I think it was her last name, that the program shooter, and that's my words, killed her co-star, Schaefer. But this is Schaefer's Crossing I stayed at. And it's hell. But what was I going to say? Something else. Anyway, oh yeah, the black man sitting in the back with me, I assume was a U.S. Marshal too. He was suited. I think he was, one of them was. But the rest of them had U.S. Marshal on it, the other 3. He had lived there when I did at Schaefer's Crossing at the TAP shelter, railroad track crossing. And he lived there, and he he mopped floors, and I thought everybody thought he was just living there like, somebody else homeless. Like the Queen of England's living there homeless and all. You can't believe what went on. Now then, they take me back to this shelter they've just written about here that I've read you, and you have to go back to 1. It's the rescue mission. I'm ousted because I'm telling about conspiracies. And this book, Were We Controlled, that Jack Hartsfield, the reporter FBI agent, which I put his letters up to me that he meant for me to put up. Anyway, nobody's doubted it. The book came from him, and it just touched on the truth. She wanted to read it. I let her. The next day, she goes up and she gives me the book back and says that I'm scaring the residents. Oh boy! So I'm ousted and I can't come back. Now get back to the U.S. Marshals picking me up from the jail cell after a month. Okay, where do they take me? They take me back to the rescue mission. And this is where this article, so that tells the date of it. I didn't think about that. Okay, well, I'm missing the page. Excuse me. Well, where was it? It was the article out of the Huntsville Times. I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to finish this. I put it up there. There's another sheet to this. Anyway, let me get back up there. This was in the Huntsville Times. Okay, now here they're inferring, and listen to it. The Appalachian Trail on a regular basis. She is often gone by. They've just lied. Who's left out the truth? Deleting the truth is a lie, making it residents in the forest rangers, and other who maintain the Appalachian Trail worry for children's safety. Well, that would have been easy. They could have just helped me find an apartment and helped me like they do all these other people. They give food and money and find homes. That wasn't how they treated me, and this is a friggin' lie. They could have cared less about me. Saying bad weather and rattlesnakes or thugs could hurt her. Well, you're right. They could have. You just weren't concerned about me. You had every chance to help me. So don't lie. That's what they've done. We're really afraid we're going to find her dead, and we don't want that to happen, Egan said. Federal authorities have struggled to piece together Had a letter from the FBI, did the book-in campaign. They all know who I am. At Childers passed and still aren't sure how she ended up living in the wilds of Western Virginia. This is supposed to be a joke, a sick friggin' joke. They traced her arrival in Roanoke in 1986. Now then, they're going to say, implying, get what they're implying, there are options available through social services, which is a friggin' lie, and food stamps. What a joke. $16 when everybody else is getting overloads of food stamp, getting foods given at you wouldn't believe it here in Roanoke. And I'm starving? Oh, come on. Okay, now then, they're implying that through mental health, that I've just made all this up. And by the way, I have been through holy hell all my life. I've fought and lived, and I'm sane as they come, thank you, buddy. And this was by the District Ranger, Pat Egan, Glenwood and Peddler Ranger District of the National Bridge, Virginia. Okay, worked briefly in the home of a Northwest Roanoke woman before winding up in the woods. It was a companion aid. All agree her life is a sad story of a woman unable to accept the help of others. You know how hard this is to swallow? The help of others has been, they want me dead. Sick, dead. They treat me like a worst criminal ever walked the face of this planet. And if the government is conspiring to keep her hidden away. Part of this is this person's lies and own words in here. Newspaper magazine clippings provide a glimpse of her life and the life she says she lived. Childers keeps a pudgy envelope stuffed with pictures of King Edward VIII. Legendary painter Georgia O'Keeffe, who Childers says is her aunt. Childers, who resembles O'Keeffe, also had a long shot for Congress. Let me show Georgia. She is my aunt. I can't call you what you are, any of you here. Okay, in 1983, she was living in Marietta, really, and was one of 9. You want to hear about that? 19 candidates trying to succeed Larry McDonald, a Republican congressman, killed when. Well, the last of that's gone. Anyway, it goes back up to Flint. He flew her to his California home, donated, a former medical secretary, divorced mother of 2. Look how they make me sound. She describes herself, well, I might have thought I was a liberal Democrat, but you can put that away. I'm totally conservative and liberals. Boo hiss boo. And that I'd written about the book about linking some doctors to organized crime. She says her birth name is Margaret Windsor and claims she's a direct descendant of the British royal family. During the 1983 campaign, Childers said she was born. No, I did not say this. I have never said this. At the time when they asked me, I hadn't found out till a few months later, my real name. So I thought I was born in Moulton, Alabama. Never have I said Huntsville, Alabama. 1994, because that's all I knew was Moulton, Alabama. Look at what they're doing to me when everybody knows who I am. I really am Margaret Windsor. My dad said all that I've said. Peggy is honest and means well and all. Okay, Larry Flint said this. In Hustler, they're quoting him in the presidential candidate. Peggy is honest and means well in all her endeavors. She knows little about the political situation in this country, but with your help she can pull it off, he wrote. She has no money or assets, but she does have a lot of heart and courage. Childers keeps the editorial with her belongings, often taking them out to show those who will listen. People think my life is a joke, she says. That's me they're quoting. I guess I said that it is. Hackers call her Crazy Margaret or the Queen of England. They'll complain to the Roanoke Appalachian Trail Club that her belongings take up most of the shelter and It takes the sleeping capacity away from 8 to 10 to 4. Well, that's a bunch of crap. Most of the time I slept outside. Donald NULPH, president of the club, says he worries for children's safety. Can you read these lies? It was so easy. If they're so concerned, why didn't they take a step to help me? It's been the opposite. She doesn't appear to be violent. He says, but we really never know when that might happen or change. Sometimes hikers give children food. Well, one had put, you know, when you blow your nose, and I didn't know it till later, and he told me. So it's this kind of stuff. So they gave me a little food, and I begged for it. Or peanut butter that's been eaten out of till you got about two tablespoons left, maybe. Oh, it's not like they're telling it. We want to discourage that. It only encourages her to stay if they give me food. But children won't have even if she were starving. So there's another part to that. I can't find it. So I don't know. Let me see what else I can get in. This was where they gave me tickets and Eric and all this. Okay. Okay, that's a part of it. I can't find the one I need to put up. I'm just going to put this up and as, just look at it and as a diary. This is from Larry Flint, but he was an attorney for Mark Garrigus, who is Scott Peterson's attorney. And Scott's on death row, Scott Peterson is. It was a mind control. This is Los Angeles address. I got it. And here's the envelope, and it says Flint, but that's got Garagos's address here. And this is to me. And it says, Dear Peggy, come to Los Angeles at once. Meeting set up with the Windsors representative August the 15th. Well, there's some things happen. I never got to get to the office. This is a picture when I was brought over here growing up. Now I'm going to go to this. I'm just going to go backwards here on it. This is Melody's, it's a HUD. Furnished by HUD, should be low income and following their rules. Now that I mentioned Brenda Ellis, she was at Joseph's Way in Bedford. What happened there for 7 months I stayed there is hell. These people got into a conspiracy, what they did, and you even had a guy come there who had just retired from the Navy SEALs. Now, he was a pretty good guy to me. He wasn't, anyway, there's a whole picture that they tell. She was compromised, Brenda Ellis was, and she even told me they had a way. Remember, I've put up here how I was run with chemicals, how I'm allergic to them, toxic fumes. You would have to see what they did to me. She even said that they had a place near her desk, if they could turn it on in my room, whatever room I was given to. And so I had to leave there after 7 months. I was so sick. Nobody would even come in. The paper, the little bulletin from Bedford was the paper, and they came up there, and they did take my sofa because I couldn't take it with me when I had to move. And they wouldn't come in because they had been in before and got so sick they couldn't stand it. So now I'm going to go to this, and this has to do with patterns in the mind control murders. So this is Melandy's Way, Melinda's Way, so owned by the same people that own what I just told you. A black reverend out of Washington, North Carolina, owns a whole bunch of these, but they're also financed in part by the federal government. They're low-income HUD. So they're supposed to follow rules. But in that way, this is where you can compromise them. They shouldn't. But after I left there, and I paid my rent on time, I did nothing wrong. In fact, they should all be locked up. But I want to show you what they do. They had a new one opening up in Christiansburg here. Same man, Reverend on that one in Bedford I just told you about. Now, I hope this doesn't go off. Okay, so I write this person who's manager of Melody's Way, owned by the same people, more, and her last name's Scott. Are you following me? Now, I'm not going to go any further other than they broke every law in the book. She said, your record of previous tenancy did not meet our screening requirements. They should have all been locked up. By the way, so what happened when Scott Hill comes and actually, oh, here's another one. I wrote her several times. She still got her job or had the last day. They should be locked up. How many crimes they got into. Okay, here is Melinda's thing. Records of previous tenancy did not meet their criteria, and she signed it down here. So now I'm going to show you this, and there's a story behind this, but I've tried to put it up, and this is, well, that's where they turned me down. I'm such a bad person, I guess. Here's Scott Hill out in Clifton Forge. I've just told you about that. That's twice they came here and got me. But it's what they're doing with the Scott and the murders, and then Scott Peterson. Whether that's ever told, I don't know. I'm going back to this. Okay, let me show this first, and then that, if I can on this one while it's still going. This is Affordable Corporate Suites, May the 14th, 2014. I moved in there, in fact, a state trooper took me there, the 14th of August of '09. Oh, no, this is where I'm living there later in 2014. And Debbie McKay actually told me, this is a lie. You have to put them up under oath, threat of telling a lie, okay, and going to prison. She's saying right here that even if I pay the rent, I'm going to have to leave. It's a lie. It's a friggin' lie. I said, what if I come up there and stand in to pay my rent? And I'd paid it every day every week when it was due. I've always paid my rent. A few times since I've been here, because of the whole circumstances, what's done to me, I haven't the first time I haven't paid it, and that's toward the end of and I'm going to leave it at that. And it's all paid, okay? Now then, she says, well, I could read it. I've put it up before. Per your conversation, you stated the cleaning supplies. Well, you should see the cleaning supplies. And what's this got to do with running me down with a vacuum cleaner, hitting me and trying to take out my recording and video equipment that was sitting there? This is ongoing, though. This is a whole thing with affordable, and it's Jewish, they own. While sympathetic to your health problems, so I guess if you're handicapped and you're me, you can just do anything you want to. That she's saying that they will not allow me to pay. So I have to leave on Thursday, May the 22nd, 2014, by 11 o'clock. I asked if I come up there and stand to pay my rent, what's she going to do? She said she'd call the Salem police. This is where I am now. She'd have me arrested for trespassing. Could she do that? They would do it. I can promise you, and that's why I left. Now, this is what she doesn't tell in there. She had a big computer on her desk, of course. She turned it around one day, and she said to me, I am not going to allow to happen to my daughter what happened to Alexis Murphy. If you want to Google Alexis Murphy, what happened to her from Livingston, Virginia, near Charlottesville, you can. Now, I'm the one that was telling I didn't murder anybody.